What's up, guys? Welcome to Newswave. Man, it was a long weekend, had some fun. We, of course, had PlayStation Experience Friday night. It was a stream that didn't go as well as I would have liked it to. Kind of a boring, really described as a snore fest, really. Kind of a boring event for a lot of people who tuned into the stream. They made that pretty clear. Saturday, we had a lot more fun with Spawncast. And then yesterday, on Sunday, watched a lot of football. Had some fun. The Niners won with pretty good looking quarterbacks. Everything is good over here. Now, we had a lot of stuff that did happen over the weekend because while the PlayStation experience was kind of boring for a lot of people during that stream, some stuff did happen throughout the week. We're just going to go over some of the bigger announcements, really, that we saw there. First, though, congratulations to Ben. He won the Super Nintendo Classic. That's on its way out now. And then, of course, we have our third one. This is the final Super Nintendo Classic that is up for giveaway. That will be given away at 70,000 subscribers, so make sure you check the link down below. Now, a lot of stuff to get over, guys. A lot of stuff to go over with here, including leaked NPD numbers. So let's get started. So Miso Securities is a place that does get NPD results throughout the month. So they are a place that actually, I guess, pays to get them ahead of time. A lot of these different analyst sites can pay, get these things ahead of time before they release it to the public. I believe that's going to be released by the NPDs December 15th. And a lot of times you get a nice little stream and everything by Matt. And overall, it's pretty good. It's pretty good to see where everything is. He goes over percentages and all of that. Well, Miso Security decided to release some information, specifically which place each system came in, so first, second, third, for how well they sold, and different things about how this time really related to last year's game sales in November. The big thing to take away from here is apparently gaming is doing really well compared to last year, but to be fair, last year there was nothing really from Nintendo that was selling. The Wii U was, that was pretty much done at this point, right? Everyone was starting to look towards the next system, and really the Wii U wasn't moving many units, especially when we found out later on that Breath of the Wild was also going to be on Nintendo's next system as well. So people kind of were like, maybe I guess I don't need a Wii U now. I'll just look into Nintendo's next hardware. So last November, we were kind of left with just 2 units selling rather than 3 with a Nintendo system. And now we have the Switch, which is doing pretty well. Overall, though, yes, it is up over 40% back from November to now, and the placement for the systems go PS4, Xbox One, and then the Switch. So PS4 was first, the Switch was last in terms of unit sales. Now, there's a lot of people who kind of started to figure this, myself included, when I saw the PS4 at such an outrageously low amount. Sony is definitely onto something here. I want to see if they can somehow release a year-round $200 PS4 Slim. I seriously thought about getting one because GameStop was doing a $200 deal and then a $50 gift card. And it's like, that's almost giving the thing away. Seriously, if people didn't have a PS4, why wouldn't you go get one that day? It was insanely cheap. Even the Xbox One was $190 pretty much across the board, whereas the Switch didn't see any price drop at all. It stayed at $300. Now, according to this site, every system did really well. The PS4, these are numbers they gave, and I kind of looked around and saw some of the NPD analysts saying their numbers aren't exactly right, but they are saying that the PS4 was north of 1.5 million, which is massive for a month. And then the Xbox One, apparently, with the Xbox One X, was not far behind. So that tells me it's very possible the Xbox One, their division, technically made the most money because the X is $500. So if they made up half of that with the X units, then they would have easily cleared revenue as really the most generated that month. This is definitely a big win for, really at this point, Sony and Microsoft. They had to get their prices down, and I do think that $200 amount is seriously the magic number. I think a lot of people look at that and go, wow, that's really cheap now. They came out at $400 and $500, and now we're finally to the point where technology's got cheap enough to they could push these out at $200. It's hard not to buy it at $200. Now the Switch still did well. No sales, like I said, really, and according to them, they didn't quite get to 1 million units, or if they did, it was right at 1 million units. That's pretty big, though, for the Switch to sell 1 million units as well. Overall, I have to say, each company did really well, and what you guys got to take away from this overall is gaming is very healthy. There are a lot of analysts outside of gaming that say, oh, it's slowly dying off because cell phones are, of course, taking over. And sure, cell phones do well, tablets do well, right? But man, gaming is big right now. Big sales right now for PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch combined. Gaming's not going anywhere, people. Any of the analysts out there that say, oh, it's a dying, sector of entertainment. No, it's certainly not. There's also one other piece of news that I'd love to see, by the way, because you guys know me. I'm not a big fan of Battlefront 2's practices with EA and what they were trying to pull off there. Turns out, they didn't even come in second place, which is great, right? So we already knew Call of Duty massively outsells Battlefront 2. According to Mizuho Securities, Mario Odyssey came in second place. So Mario Odyssey in NPDs had to have had over a 60-70% attach rate, which is massive. But they apparently sold more than Battlefront 2 did at physical retail, which is pretty impressive. Now, of course, Battlefront 2 went through some struggles, as we saw, with about 882,000 or so units sold, as the information that's come out. But to see them not even get the second place in their debut month, where Mario Odyssey technically debuted in October, is really, really funny. And I'm glad to see EA is struggling heavily here, because according to them, they're still going to touch 14 million by the end of March. And I need to see that, to be honest, to believe it. Now let's move over to the PlayStation Experience highlights. There was some stuff that happened, okay? I know we watched it, and it ended up being more about interviews. It would have made a great podcast if they kind of strung everything together, and you could like listen to a car or something, because it was cool to hear some of the developers talk about things that were happening in the background, especially Mr. Shuhei Yoshida talk about different things that would go on, where he would go and play test like Death Stranding or Days Gone, or he just kind of walk in and be like, let's try this game out and see how it's going. Also, according to Mark Cerny, Death Stranding makes sense after about 5 hours, and that's pretty impressive, considering no one knows what's going on in that game right now. To sit down and play it for 4 or 5 hours, and all of a sudden you know what's going on. Well, I want to see how all of that comes together, because that's the most interesting thing to me. But some announcements included God of War is going to be 25 to 30 hours, how long they're turning in right now for some of their playthroughs, which is probably one of the biggest surprises, I think. It sounds crazy, but God of War has always been like a 10-hour max. That's max game. And that's to hear that God of War is going to be that fleshed out, that massive, I guess, 25 to 30 hours for a narrative-driven game. That's a pretty big deal. The one concern I have about God of War, and I think everyone else has it too, why was there no release date announced? That is my concern. It's early 18. Guys, it's December 2017. Why was there no release date at your convention? It's the PlayStation Experience. I know Sony is really bad about actually releasing or announcing something and then releasing it soon. Generally, they announce something and then we don't get it for 4 years, right? 3-4 years, we'll get it finally. I mean, Spider-Man's been at 2 E3s. Is he going to be at a third for this game? Probably. It closed out last E3. Is it going to close out this E3? God of War is going to be needed for early 2018. I don't want to see that pushed back. But the fact that they were so hesitant to talk about anything when it came to release date concerned me just a little bit. We also found out that Days Gone is a 2018 game. Dreams is a 2018 game. We heard that Wipeout is going to have Wipeout HD VR, which was a pretty cool look at VR, although, man, that could get really dizzy really fast with how quick Wipeout moves when you're playing it. It's all over the place sometimes. Medieval is also coming, which is a big announcement for some, but not really the people in attendance. I kind of understood what was happening when they showed the shirt and then people started talking about it. I was like, oh, I remember Medieval on the PS1. That could be kind of fun to see it come back. A remaster, I think, a remake, nothing. They're not like building it from the ground up. It's going to be, I think, maybe they'll do something like Crash. Otherwise, it'll be maybe an HD bump for it so it looks better, and maybe they'll add some textures and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be a whole new game or anything. It's mostly going to be like a remaster. And to be honest, the thing that really caught me off guard with the PlayStation Experience was Detroit Become Human. That game went from like an for me to wow, I want to play this game. That little playable demo they did, by the way, it was actually playable. That was a big thing a lot of people were saying. Why is there no playable stuff? They keep showing us the trailers from before. That was completely playable. And it looked really, really cool. It was like a very, very cool looking, like movie moments and everything. And it was very tense. And apparently when you're playing through, all of your decisions will actually matter. It'll change the probability of success. And really the idea of having different androids that you control, kind of going through adventures and them trying to, what he was doing, try to save the girl and stop a crime from happening, was really cool. There was like another android that was like, went rogue and like kidnapped the girl and went on the roof. It was super tense. I love the look of it. And that's a game, like I said, that I wasn't too interested in, and now I can't wait till it comes out spring 2018. Overall, it was more of a show to be at rather than watch on stream. They showed a few other things here and there, which we'll get into later on when we talk about Monster Hunter World, but overall, it was for the PlayStation fan, really. Like, if you're a big fan of PlayStation, you want to see how some of the executives talk, what's going on in the background, that was a place for you. if you're like a casual fan of all systems, or maybe you're more of an Xbox or a Nintendo guy and you're like, oh, let's see what Sony's up to, it probably wasn't for you. We also had the Monster Hunter World Beta released. Everyone got a chance to play it. They had a PlayStation Plus membership, and I actually liked it. I'm not a big Monster Hunter person, but overall, man, I had some fun with it. There was really cool combo system you could do where you change between like triangle, circle, and then of course hit R2 to change your weapon, and apparently they can all change. I was using like the sword, they could transform into axe and transform into the sword back and forth mid-combo, and it opened up different moves. It was really neat, and overall, the only thing that really bothered me, I guess, were that the visuals weren't quite there. I just don't think there was anything that really wowed me, although this is a beta. The one thing I liked was that they have graphical options. So if you have a PS4 Pro, a menu that is normally disabled for regular PS4s becomes activated, and you can choose either frame rate, resolution, or graphics. So you can pick if you're like, I don't care too much about how the thing looks or if it's going to be 4K, give me frame rate. Apparently that plays with an unlocked frame rate at that point. And I noticed it was pretty smooth, but then I jumped to the resolution mode and it seemed like it was just straight 30 rather than uncapped. They're also adding this really cool Mega Man cameo. They said stay tuned for more information, but apparently you're going to have full music, and I guess they're gonna have like a Mega Man sprite running around. It was very jarring to see that in the trailer. Super out of place, but if you can seriously hunt monsters, some of that music, some of the stage music from Mega Man, yeah, bring that on. They'll also have regular updates going forward, so they're just gonna keep adding more to it as they go along. Kind of like an MMO, I guess. I'll have to see if they do any DLC or anything after that. That's probably the best way they're gonna make more money after it comes out, because they have no intentions of putting loot boxes. Good job, by the way. I'd rather pay for DLC a year from now rather than have people buying loot boxes like crazy, because that's probably one of the easiest places to put a loot box. And of course, we'll have those really cool options for the PS4 Pro. Apparently, Shadow of the Colossus has the same idea where you have different options and they'll uncap the frame rate or try to push the resolution as high as possible. I like those choices. I really wish more games did that on the PS4 Pro. In our last bit of news, let's talk about Okami HD on the PC. And there were some people who were kind of frustrated with what they had heard over the weekend, and that had to do with Okami and its locked frame rate. Okami HD on the PC, where you generally go to have massively high frame rates because you have these high refresh monitors, you kick the resolution up, you turn everything on, and you play the game. Well, not so much with Okami HD. See, the frame rate appears to be tied to the game logic, and because of that, it's going to be locked at 30 frames even on the strongest computers. This was revealed to us from a moderator from Capcom under name W Bacon, saying frame rate will be locked to 30 FPS. We actually experimented with 60 FPS and uncapped frame mode, but unfortunately it breaks the game logic, collision detection, and anim speed in certain areas of the game. The reality is that it'd take a Herculean effort, time, and cost to manually fix and QA by trial and error, since we're working with legacy code from PS3 that was originally intended for 30 FPS in mind. Now, if you don't know, there are some games where the frame rate, if it's uncapped and it goes absolutely insane, like let's say it jumps to like 120 or 240 frames or something like that, things don't go well. If you look up Skyrim, for example, when people uncap the frame rate and it goes super high, yeah, bad things happen as you're seeing right now. It doesn't go well. Generally, you end up upside down and in a vortex and who knows what else. It gets out of control, and that has to do with really the frame rate being tied to the game logic, whether it's animations or AI or just things happening in the world. In fact, there's a chance that if Okami was uncapped, it would be like fast forward. People were making all these assumptions. It could be like fast forward mode. Who knows? Who knows what happens when you uncap that frame rate if everything's tied to 30 FPS? It looks like at this point, if you get it, you're going to be at 30 FPS unless somebody somehow recodes the entire game to work with a higher frame rate. I wouldn't expect it. Just go in knowing you're going to be playing what is kind of the game itself isn't super fast. It's not a Twitch shooter or anything. It's slower. You'll live, honestly. I know people hear 30 FPS and go, oh no, 30 FPS. You'll be okay, trust me. Okami's a good game. Don't sleep on it just because the frame counter is 30. Don't be that person. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, really helps out. And also check back here at 8 a.m. every morning. It's 8 a.m. Eastern every morning for gaming news and just general talk about the gaming industry. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and I need to know what you guys think about any of the stuff we talked about. Whether it is the NPD rating, seems like everybody did well. It's just Sony blew the doors off with that $200 PS4. What do you do about a $200 PS4 with a $50 GameStop gift card or a $190 Xbox? At that point, you're going to buy those if you don't have them. There's no reason not to. They'll do well with their $300 system. It's just, at this point, hey, the PS4 at $200, if they can get it there, that's going to be taking quite a few NPDs just because of the price alone. But let me know what you think about that. And also let me think about the unfortunate demise of Battlefront 2 falling even further down the sales charts than I thought. I thought it'd at least be second. It's below that even. Who knows where this ends? It could be fourth or fifth, maybe. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all of that, though. And then, of course, let me know what you think about the PlayStation experience. Maybe you enjoyed some of the stuff you saw there. And sure, let me know what you thought about the whole experience there. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.